Hi everyone, I am Chrissy and welcome to my channel Lovely Inspirations, where I am on a journey of improving my health one habit at a time. And I am inviting you to join me on that journey so that together we can grow gradually, we can build community, and we can improve ourselves one habit at a time. Okay, so today I'm going to be discussing the importance of forgiveness. Okay, so forgiveness not only affects our mind, but over time, if we don't forgive often, right, and quickly, it actually impacts our physical health, right? So recently, our family has moved from Florida to New York. And one of the things that I miss is a dishwasher because our New York apartment doesn't have a dishwasher, so it really gives me an opportunity to do a lot of thinking while I'm washing the dishes. And so I'm sure, like many of you, right, I have some situations where I can forgive generously, right, and I don't, and I struggle with it. And it's really been a struggle for me while I'm doing the dishes, because here is where I have an opportunity to rehearse scenarios, right? And it's almost like I found it almost like a wound that's been irritated or reopened, right? So what the Lord has impressed on my heart to do was to just get scriptures that combat those thoughts, right? To kind of prevent me from going down that road. It's almost like a pathway. I heard someone say, sometimes your thinking is like a pathway that has been treaded upon over and over and over again. And so if you're used to thinking a certain way, it's easier to follow that pathway. So in order to change your mindset, we're going to have to change, our thoughts and change a different pathway. And so the scriptures that I had helped me, that in that moment, when I would start to rehearse those scenarios, it would prevent me from spiraling and kind of shift my mind to a different pathway. And so it's really helped. And I would say maybe about a week after I started doing this, I stumbled upon a sermon that was by Dr. Charles Stanley that spoke to this very issue, okay? And it was very sobering, and it made me realize that forgiveness has more to do with my heart than it does to the situation that I felt like I was wronged in. And so I wanted to share that because I feel like I know that I'm not the only person that's struggling with it, and it does have an impact on our health. Not on the person or the situation that we are being unforgiving towards, but it has an impact on our health, right? So I just wanted to share some points from the sermon. One of the points that he said is that when we feel like we are going to the Lord and we're like, we're talking about that situation to the Lord, just remember that the Lord's response will be to us, look at the cross. Just look at the cross, and it's a good reminder that he's been there and that he's conquered, overcome that situation, right? And he's given us an example to follow, put it that way. He's given us an example to follow because while he was on the cross, he asked God to forgive them, right? And so when we feel like no one understands, just remember to look at the cross, okay? All right, another point is that primary reasons that we are unforgiving, okay? So the primary reasons that we are unforgiving is 1, pride, 2, selfishness, 3, ignorance. Okay, and this one was really good. I will definitely put the link in the description box so that you can hear the sermon in its entirety if you would like, but it's really helpful, because it's either we are unforgiving either because of the pride that we have in our hearts, like why was that done to me? When we ourselves have done things to other people that we expect forgiveness for, but for some reason we want to withhold forgiveness, giving forgiveness, right? Second thing, selfishness. What about me? What about, I can't believe that was done to me. I, me, I, right? So selfishness is another reason. And three, ignorance. Maybe we just don't know of a better way to handle it. We don't know to rise above the situation without holding on to bitterness, right? So those are the three reasons we are unforgiving. The consequences of an unforgiving spirit. There are consequences to being unforgiving, and the consequences are more on us again than it is on the person or the situation. The first consequence is that it's emotional bondage, right? So we freeze out our capability and capacity to receive love. We freeze out our capacity and capability to give love, right? And then we become almost like a dam, right? Instead of waters flowing through, it's like we just stop and it's a blockage, right? And so that's not the way that we want to live our lives, right? And the second consequence is that it damages relationships to one another, right? To our sisters, our brothers, to people that God has placed in our lives that He wants us to grow with. It also damages our relationship with Him, right? Because He wants us to love. We can't say that we love God if we hate our brother or our sister. It's not good. It's almost like if you have children, right? And you love all of your children, your desire is for you to see them love one another. But if your son or your daughter comes to you and says, I love you, mom, right? I love you, mom, or I love you, dad, but yet they hate their sister, your other child, you're going to feel like, no, this is not right. You need to love your sister. You need to love your brother. You need to love one another. That's how you love me, by loving one another, right? By having that harmony. And so that's the same thing that God desires for us, right? Okay. The fourth consequence is that it damages us physically. Again, our nervous systems is not designed for us to hold on to bitterness, to hold on to be angry, or to hold on to any type of negative feeling. It will not just stay within our minds. It will affect our spirits. It will affect our bodies, right? And so forgiveness is just so important. Again, it's releasing us, right? We're the ones that are in the prison when we are not being forgiving to other people. Okay, so here are 4 ways that Dr. Charles Stanley recommends to overcome forgiveness. Okay, the first one is to assume responsibility. Okay, so if you know that you have an unforgiving spirit situation right now, that if you look at someone, if you think about someone and you have negative feelings towards that person or towards that situation, right, you assume responsibility. I have unforgiveness in my heart. I am choosing to be unforgiving. Okay, so assume responsibility. The second thing is to release your hold over the debt that you feel that they owe. Okay, so release it. Release it like I don't want it anymore. I don't want to hold on to them in a negative way. Release it. The third way is to recognize that the other person's violation actually exposes a weakness within your heart. And that goes back up to those primary reasons. It's either pride or selfishness or ignorance, okay? It's a condition within your heart, okay? And the fourth thing is, remember that God forgave you. The same way, right? The same way that you need to forgive is the same way that God forgave you over and over and over again, and will continue to forgive you in the future, because you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. We're all not perfect. And we need to forgive often and forgive quickly. Okay, so I hope this blesses you, because it is blessing me. And again, it's not something that I have mastered. None of these habits are habits that I have mastered. Okay, I'm not coming from a place of I have it all figured out. It's simply something that I'm experiencing, that I know that the Lord is impressing on my heart, that if you want to take care of your health, put this into practice. And I want to share it with you guys, and hoping that we all can, be better versions of ourselves tomorrow than we are today. Okay, so I hope this blesses you. If it did, please like, okay, and please subscribe so that we can connect, and we can grow into healthier versions of ourselves. All right, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.